Now, 13 Wham Sports.
It was all set up for a great first night of high school football for the season. Then the weather got in the way. Like the postal workers, rain, sleet, and snow don't get in the way, but lightning, that's a different story. We begin our sports/weather report with Toby Matika in LeRoy. Toby?
Yeah, Mike, how's this for a Week 1 matchup? Two of the biggest rivals in Section 5 and all of Western New York, LeRoy and Cal-Mum, opening their seasons against one another for just the second time in the last 26 years. Yeah, this is the type of rivalry game that brings out not just an entire town, but an entire community. One of the oldest rivalries in Section 5, one of the best, but one-sided in the first half. Cal-Mum down 21-0. Kyle Preston intercepted by John Pierce, who holds on despite the collision. Awatkin Knights taken over, and even when things went wrong, they went right. Tom Kelso into the open field. Looks like he's going to have a touchdown, except he runs into the big boy up front, fumbles the ball, but Ryan McQuillan right there to recover for LeRoy. However, lightning would come in this one. Flashes all across the sky. Coaches trying to figure out what to do. After about 20 minutes, they got together and decided, let's call it. Pick it up on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. That is where we leave this one. LeRoy leading Cal-Mum 21-0 at half. We'll resume this thing on Saturday. Mike?
Yeah, all right. Gage Chili and Hilton meeting out at Brockport tonight. Scoreless in the first half. Hilton, Zach Thorpe, pump fake. Nobody's open. That's a problem. He gets sacked, sets up a 3rd and 18. So the very next play, Thorpe again. This time, he's going to pump fake again. This time it works. Taryn Lopez is going to haul it in with a big gainer. A few plays later, Tyler Sikanalfi here from 3 yards out, going to follow the pile and get it in. Hilton led this one 22-0 before this was suspended. They'll continue it Sunday morning at 11. Hey, more highlights. Let's go to John Doss at Aquinas.
Yeah, Mike, here we are, first week of high school football season. We figured, why not go to the place that we typically end each high school football season, right here at Aquinas, the Little Irish hosting Section 6's Bishop Timon. An AQ led by defending AA Player of the Year, Jake Zembiec, so you knew the Little Irish offense was going to be able to score, and they wasted no time. Game's first possession, Zembiec flush left and finds Ernest Edwards, who makes the one-handed grab, walks into the end zone. Yeah, get used to that, Rochester. You're going to see that combo a lot this year. The big question, though, how would Aquinas replace the 7 all-Greater Rochester defenders they lost? Well, Jordan Richardson's going to help, as will linebacker Theron Eisen. Kid had a huge game. The Irish D holds true, paving the way for another Zembiec to Edwards hookup. I promised you more. This time, it's 50 yards into the end zone, and AQ got some help on special teams, too. High snap, kick it out of the end zone. Or this happens. Nick Giovanola slides in. It's an Aquinas touchdown. Made it 21-0, and that's where we stand. Game postponed due to lightning. They'll pick it back up Sunday afternoon.
All right, John. Well, hey, Mike Wagner and Victor at home tonight against Webster Thomas. Titans got on the board first. Brendan Smith to Max Anarella. Down the middle. He gets separation. He's gone for the touchdown. Later in the first quarter, handoff to Pat Vandermark. He powers through the crowd, jukes to the outside. He puts Thomas up 13-0 early. The host Blue Devils got close in the second. Double reverse. Wagner's going to end up getting it back, but the throw is just a little off. This was 13-0. Guess what? Lightning postpones the game until the weekend. Thomas leading it. Bishop Kearney at home under the lights for their season opener against Cuba-Rushford. Kings were up 37-0 at half. Cuba-Rushford loses a snap. First snap of the third quarter. Kearney's Tabari Bowler emerges from the pile with the ball. BK takes advantage. Handoff to Demir Pross, who breaks a tackle, runs it in for the score. After another Cuba-Rushford fumble, RH transfer quarterback Todd LaRocca finds. He fakes the handoff, goes to the corner for the score, 50-0. Kings roll tonight, 66-0. Pittsford taking on Webster. Schroeder. The Panthers' offense was clicking tonight. Quarterback Jack Wallman steps up and going to let it fly into the hands of Zerly Hendricks here for the touchdown. That put him up big. And then later they add to the lead. It is Josh Mack who's going to take the handoff at the 38-yard line and rumble into the end zone. Guess what? This one only made it to halftime, too. Pittsford up 30-7. They'll pick this one up this weekend, 30-7 at halftime.
Well, the first Friday night of the high school football season felt a little anticlimactic. Don't blame the games, just blame the weather. 10 games in all were postponed in the middle of the action because of lightning. No rain, just flashes across the sky. 2 of those games continued today. One of them, the big rivalry matchup between LeRoy and Cal-Mum. They continued with LeRoy up 21-0 at halftime. Mike McMullen faking a handoff, finds John Pierce with the second handoff. Made it 34-0, Owatkin Knights. Now in the fourth, McMullen gonna pitch it to Pierce. He emerges from a crowd, breaks an arm tackle, then an ankle tackle, and he scampers into the end zone, 40-0. LeRoy on top. Cal-Mum trying to get on the board with this thing all but over, but they fumble in the red zone. Tommy Wood there to recover it. The rivalry not as competitive this season as in years past. LeRoy looks loaded. They win 40-0. The other game completed today. Geneva 44, Wayne 19. Geneva pulling away in the second half. As for the games that were actually scheduled for today, one of them was at East High School, where they showed off their shiny new turf. East High unveiling that pristine new stadium. Home team, the Orientals, squaring off against Edison Tech to start their season. East getting on the board first. Handoff, Tavon Davis finds a hole up the middle, jukes to the outside. Nice bounce move. Hit the right stick on Madden nicely, and he was gone. Orientals had the early lead, but Edison Tech getting kind of inventive on the option pitch, and then it gets simple. Plunged to the end zone by Raekwon Johnson. Edison had the lead, but time running out in the half. Inventors picked off by Raheem Gayden by the end zone. That interception would help fuel an East High comeback. They end up winning 20-14. Hey, time to ring the bell at Rush-Henrietta. Things getting started with RH and Fairport, an instant classic a year ago. Fairport would like to forget this one. 20-7 Royal Comets. Time winding down in the second. Gavin McDonald powers his way through. 27-7 at half. Same score in the fourth. Fairport backed up. Keanu Hedrum, the Matrix. The sack, the fumble. Trenton Eubanks swings into your screen to pick it up and run it in. RH wins running away. 34-7. Penfield Patriots, the home Reds this afternoon with those sweet black helmets against Greece Olympia. Third quarter. Penfield's Mike Argentieri gets the carry, rumbles deep into Olympia territory. He could go all the way. Oh, but there's number 6. He won't go all the way. Dragged down, but later in the drive from the 1-yard line. Yeah, all that running leads to this. Matt Lobiando finishes it off. 24-0. Patriots on top. Olympia trying to get some points on the board. Pass across the middle, though, picked off by John Condon. Penfield can celebrate a win in their first game of the campaign. 24-0. Finally, let's head to Arcadia, where the Titans were taking on Brighton. Barons up 6-0 in the first and playing themselves some D. Janelle Gamble. Eat turf. Stayed 6-0 Brighton after one. Second quarter, Titans just kept moving backwards, but suddenly they go forwards. Really, really fast. Noah Bernard to Alex Rodriguez. He's faster than you. Long touchdown run. Arcadia takes the lead, and they take the game 19-13. Let's get to some more scores. A doubleheader of football at Salen's sees Wilson romp Leadership Academy, and UPrep fall to St. Mary's out of Section 6. Brockport travels to Canandaigua and takes down the Braves, and Oakfield, Alabama ekes out a win over Notre Dame Batavia.
Now, 15 Rams Sports.
Well, week 2 may have felt more like week 7 outside, but some teams like the fresh air and a fresh start to the season after a disappointing 2013. Let's get you started out in Webster. Thomas with John Doss.
Yeah, Toby, boy, we were hoping for a couple more weeks of shorts weather out here. Looks like football weather came a little sooner than expected. Hey, game of the night on paper was right here at Webster Thomas. The Titans hosting Hilton in a battle of a couple of really good defenses. Both teams pitched shutouts in their week 1 wins. And boy, Webster Thomas looks like its defense may be the class of Section 5, especially their front 4, tied at 7. Titans forced the fumble. They're on top of it, and they're in business deep in Hilton territory. And a couple plays later, Brendan Smith finds Alex Hutchins across the middle for the score. Thomas goes up 14-0. And with that defense, the Titans didn't look back, and Smith had a huge night. Next drive, junior quarterback pumps and goes up top for David Brannigan, who's wrestled down at the 1. Thomas punched punched it in a play later to go up 21-7. Ensuing quarter, more from Smith, this time going deep for Pat Lemoyne, who makes the great grab, stays in bounds, and takes it 60 yards for the score. Thomas is for real, guys. Titans win it 28-14. And speaking of teams turning it around, Dan Fichter has Irondequoit heading in the right direction, and it helps to have kids like John Lombardi, brother of former AQ stud Billy Lombardi. And boy, mom and dad are doing something right with those kids. The freshman gets the backfield stop, forces the punt, and just a few plays later, toss goes wide to Jason Albritton, untouched into the end zone, keeping the jersey clean. It's 7-0 Eagles. And that was the score with under a minute to play in the first half when Sean Mannion drops it beautifully into the arms of Dylan Harrington. Touchdown Eagles, and Irondequoit rolls to a 24-0 win. Toby, watch out for Thomas and Irondequoit, both programs on the rise.
Seems that way, John. We continue with an emotional night at East Rochester as the Bombers hosted the Eagles from Wayne. Bombers wearing stickers on their helmets honoring Officer Daryl Pearson. Scoreless in the second, Tyler Chavez. He was a horse on this drive. Fire trucks waiting in the end zone after he scores to do this. Celebrate like you do at a hockey arena. Siren time. ER up 7-0. Second half, though. Braden Zanelovich to Ryle Lamora. He's down at the 2. Ball comes out. No whistle. Looked like the ground clearly caused that fumble. The Bombers are on top of it. They say they have it, and the refs, guess what? They agree. Looked like a huge call at the time. The Eagles would come out to plead their case, but to no avail. Wouldn't matter in the end, though. The Eagles do prevail. They win this game 20-15. Todd LaRocca and Bishop Kearney hosting Canisteo-Greenwood. LaRocca was on it in the first half, but this team didn't really need him in the second. They built a big lead, and then Jacob Mead on the opening possession for Canisteo-Greenwood. Pick 6. Kearney, I think they're still running. They run away with this one. Final score, 65-0. A cool fall-type night in Spencerport. Rangers taking on Victor. You see the breath. It is too early for that. Blue Devils up 17-6 going into the second. Mike Wagner faking it to Zach Lefebvre down the middle on the diving completion. Later on, Wagner, the keeper, weaving through some tackles, storms into the end zone. Victor up 24-6, and they're trying to pad their lead in the fourth. Long play for the Blue Devils, but the ball hits the deck. Spencerport jumping on it. Rangers in business, trying to get their first score of the second half, but red zone on fourth down. Incomplete. Victor gets their first win of the season, 24-6, the final in that. How about Gates Chilai, the student section, ready to go. The Pit, you see it on the back of his shirt, taking on Fairport. The home team impressing in the first. Gates Chilai, Stephen Fiammi. Corner of the end zone, and Anthony Clark gets it. Now in the second, sophomore quarterback for Fairport, Keyshawn Howard, can't find a receiver, takes it himself. Look at the moves, bouncing off tacklers, before finally being dragged down later in the drive. Pitch to Jihadi Pryor, takes a shot at the line, chugs forward, putting Fairport on top. End of the first, another red zone handoff to Pryor, walks in. Fairport wins a high-scoring affair, 42-25. Finally, let's head to Brockport. Churchville-Chili taking on the Blue Devils. Scoreless game in the third. That changed in a flash. Josh Michaels, Carlton Ekior. Nice pass, nice catch. Ekior underneath it, and he's a hard man to out-throw. You're going to see why again in just a second. Once he stops dancing. Of course, it's 14-7 Brockport now. Michaels again. Look at this pass. And watch Ekior's adjustment. Over the wrong shoulder, he comes back to get it and high steps in. Little less pizzazz this time. He didn't need pizzazz. He caught 3 scores. Brockport takes it today, 35-7.
Now, 15 Play-On Sports.
Aquinas quarterback Jake Zembiec is one of the top prospects at his position in the entire country. He's the reigning state player of the year on the reigning state champions. But it'll be tough to repeat last season's success if Jake isn't on the field. Today was supposed to be perhaps the game of the year in New York State. Aquinas and Canisius out in Buffalo, but on Jake's first play under center, you see him just get clobbered from about 4 different directions. He falls to the ground, injured on the play, left the game, broken left non-throwing wrist. That's good news, but he is still expected to miss about 6 weeks of time, and it would have been tough to keep up with Canisius with him under center. Almost impossible without him. Mitch Thomas breaking out of the pile, going 55 yards for the touchdown. Canisius up 7-0, and it got worse, and it never got better. Later in the game, 17-0. Thomas again. Aquinas loses today without Zembiec, 34-27. 12-0. Now, the Zembiec injury could open things up a bit in Class AA, but who will step up? Maybe one of the teams facing off at St. John Fisher College right now. So let's head live to Fisher, where we find John Doss with more on this game between a couple of powerhouses. John?
Yeah, Toby, go ahead and let me know if a ball's coming at me. Pittsford here is threatening on this end of the field. But we talked to AQ coach Chris Battaglia a couple of weeks ago. He had great things to say about both of these teams here, Pittsford and Rush-Henrietta. And even with a healthy Jake Zembiec, he said these were the two teams that were probably going to challenge their Section 5 title streak. So it's only week 2, but Toby, it is the game of the year so far here at St. John Fisher. And I'm pretty sure we just got a touchdown. We will have these highlights for you tonight at 10 and 11. But let's show you some action from earlier today. Greece Athena hosting Canisteo, and the first quarter and a half was a defensive battle. Trojans linebacker Vince Sofing with a big hit forces a Braves punt. Score tied at 0 after the first, and then Canisteo turned it on. It's 6-0 Braves. Just over a minute to go in the first half when Mitch Schaefer throws a strike to Layman Castine all the way down to the Trojan 20, and a couple of plays later, Schaefer with the screen to Nick Johnson. Breaks the tackle, weaves his way all the way downfield and into the end zone. One of his 3 touchdowns on the day. Canisteo is your winner, 18-13. And we'll bring you back here to St. John Fisher. Pittsford taking on RH. The Panthers just scored a touchdown. They've now kicked the extra point to make it 15-7. And now I'll come back in. Toby, it's already a good one here. We're still in the first quarter, 3:41 to go. Pittsford a 15-7 lead. We're going to have these highlights for you tonight at 10 and 11. Toby?
All right, thanks, John. And like he said, make sure to come back for that one. Probably one of the best games of the year coming up tonight. Greece Olympia, meanwhile, some more Section 5 football. Olympia with their home opener this afternoon against Falls-Lima. Let's see if we can get you to the highlights of this one. HFL already up 12-0, second quarter. The road team unleashing the reverse on D. Justice Watts busts it down the far sideline. He's going to get a few more yards with the cut inside before being dragged down. That helped lead to this. Handoff to Ryan Olivo. He busts through the line for the touchdown, putting HFL up 21-0. Spartans would not be shut out, though. Later in the second, they rush it in for the score. However, it would end there. The offense would at least. HFL breaking through multiple players with the shot at the sack. Falls-Lima getting the win today in their road opener. Schroeder visiting Penfield. Warriors played great in their second half of their loss to Pittsford last week. And here's Austin Aquija scoring the touchdown from in close, putting Schroeder on top. And then Brett Segala looking for Will Blake. And he's looking nice. Corner of the end zone for the wide open score. Schroeder up by 2 scores. And it was so much fun, guys. Let's do it again. This one more letting Blake do the work. Throws the short swing pass to him, and Blake is running. He's faster than you and everyone else. Long touchdown win helps the Warriors win today, 26-6. Well, you don't want to toss around the term playoff preview too much in week 2, but usually with Rush-Henrietta and Pittsford, it's safe to say they'll both be there deep into the playoffs. With more on this marquee matchup, here's John Doss.
Yeah, Toby, boy, we didn't have to wait long for our game of the year, just week 2. But, you know, coming into the season, we thought there were going to be 3 elite AA teams. One of them was Aquinas. We'll talk about them in just a couple of minutes. The other 2 were Pittsford and RH. They met here tonight at St. John Fisher. And 2 of the best quarterbacks in Section 5 featured tonight. Jack Wallman in Pittsford taking on Jared Gerbino and Rush-Henrietta, but it was the Panthers to get on the board first. Direct snap goes to Brandon Barker, and he's in there somewhere, I promise you. He powers his way into the end zone. Panthers go up 8-0, and then the 2 teams went back and forth for about the next quarter and a half. Second quarter, Wallman hit as he throws. Ball ends up in the arms of Farden Allen, and he is gone. Allen goes the length of the field for the pick 6, and from that point on, trusting Jared Gerbino to hold on to the lead seems like a pretty safe bet. Now it's Gerbino's turn. Keeps it himself, finds a seam up the middle, and he's gone. A guy that big, moving that quickly. Watch out, Section 5. Gerbino looks like a man on a mission, and you know, something tells me we'll see these 2 teams again down the road, but tonight, RH wins the showdown at Fisher, 41-34. Yeah, so Toby, Pittsford and RH proving that they are clearly the class of Section 5, certainly AA, and that other team that we mentioned was Aquinas. The reigning AA champs took a big hit today, losing star quarterback Jake Zembiec at Canisius. Toby, why don't you tell us more about that?
Jake Zembiec is the reigning New York State Player of the Year for the reigning New York State champs, but the Little Irish quarterback won't be suiting up again anytime soon. Today was supposed to be perhaps the game of the year in New York between Aquinas and Canisius, but on Zembiec's first play under center, he is sacked. Broken left wrist, non-throwing wrist, but that's the only good news. He's out at least 6 weeks, maybe longer, and it would have been tough to keep up with this Canisius team with Zembiec under center. Impossible without him. It was 17-0 when Mitch Thomas makes it 24-zip. Aquinas falls today, 34-0 the final. Old rivalry, East and McQuaid over at East. Orientals on the move. Jake Zimmer and Connor Sheridan, though. Yeah, they put a stop to that one. Bending him over backwards for the tackle. Big loss on the play. On offense, the Jesuit Knights, they would get that ground game going eventually. Amari Lawrence burst through the line, down the sideline, pushed out of bounds, but not before the big gainer. McQuaid would go on to win this thing 28-0. Homecoming at Eastridge, the theme, phone apps, me likey the Angry Birds. A lot of happy Lancers, though, not angry at all on their homecoming day. Eastridge offense looking sharp. Second play from scrimmage, Javon Hampton to Javon Presley. Javon's working. 6-0 Lancers on top, and this team can run too. We'll give it to that second Javon Presley, that is. In a 12-6 game, he goes far side, bounces it out. You're not going to catch him. Lancers get this win 20-6. They are now 2-0.
Now 13 Play-On Sports.
All right, a couple weeks ago, high school football, we had lightning delays. Last week felt more like November. Tonight, just perfect Friday night lights weather. Toby Matika gets our highlights started tonight. Toby?
It was homecoming here at Gates Chi-Li tonight, and maybe that's why Webster Thomas was the team on their schedule. The Titans are almost never anywhere near the top of the Section 5 standings, but this year's team looks the part of a potential powerhouse. Thomas putting its 2-0 mark on the line in front of a homecoming crowd at Gates Chi-Li. First drive for the Titans. Methodical. Steven Zaccardo. 7-0 Thomas on their very first possession of the game. But after both teams would lose a fumble, Gates breaks through. Literally. Julian Riley bursts through the line. He's got one man to beat, and he beats him. 7-7 the score after that 41-yard scamper. Second quarter, though, Titans start distancing themselves. 3rd and 10, Brendan Smith to Pat Lemoyne. Somehow comes down with it. First down and more, and then it's Zaccardo again. He already had 2 touchdowns in the game. This one his longest of the first half. Given the Fred Jackson stiff arm at the end of it, John said it last week, I'll say it again this week. Titans win. They improve to 3-0. Let's head down Buffalo Road to Churchville-Chili. Saints hosting Athena. Trojans with the 12-6 lead and the ball. Nick Carnevale, nice fake, better throw. Tavon Granison, the 69-yard touchdown reception. Athena with a 20-6 lead, and they'd get the ball right back on a turnover on the kickoff. And on 3rd down, Carnevale to Kyle Benham. Athena gets the win, Mike, improving to 2-1 on the season.
All right, Toby, a good matchup also out at Irondequoit tonight. We keep our highlights going with John Doss. John?
Yeah, Mike, it was homecoming here at Irondequoit, and it turned out to be one of the games of the night. The 2-0 Golden Eagles hosting 2-0 Brockport. Blue Devils led 9-7 midway through the 3rd quarter before Irondequoit quarterback Sean Mannion on the zone read, keeps it, weaves through the Brockport defense, finds the corner of the end zone, and he's got Irondequoit leading 14-9 on homecoming night. But Brockport comes right back. Their do-it-all wide receiver Carlton Ekior with the throwback to Anthony Lee Torres, weaves his way inside the 5. Brockport punched it in a play later, and the Blue Devils ruin homecoming night in Irondequoit. They win it 15-14. And earlier in the day, it was alumni night at McQuaid. The Jesuit Knights hosting Leadership. And early on, McQuaid QB Mike Howland going deep for Sean Nally on the far sideline. He's off to the races, finally knocked out of bounds inside the 10 to the 7. McQuaid would score to go up 7-0. Now 10-0. Jesuit Knights Leadership on the pass, but Atiba McLaren steps in front of it, and he's going the other way, takes it all the way inside the Leadership 20. McQuaid would score another touchdown, and the Jesuit Knights win it on homecoming.
All right, how about Hilton at home tonight against Spencerport? We'll pick up the highlights of this one. The Cadets got the offense rolling first half. Dylan Philmon here, going to break a couple of tackles. He's gone for the touchdown. Hilton on top, 28-7. Now, you like those Hail Mary passes right before the half. One last chance. Hilton says, why not? Zachary Thorpe lets it fly. Justin Rezegi there, and he pulls it in for the touchdown. That kind of night for Hilton. They get the victory this evening, 56-27. Clyde Savannah Golden Eagles hosting Minders tonight. Clyde already up 7-0 in the second. Minders Liam Carrier here under center, keeps it himself for the touchdown. Minders up 8-7 after that, but here comes the Golden Eagles. Zach DeAngelis, 30-yard field goal. Clyde back on top, 10-8. Clyde patting the lead late in the half. Minders with the pass, but Jared Fennell with the interception, 65 yards for the score. Golden Eagles led it in the third. It's the latest score we had. Lions at home tonight against the Scotsmen of Dundee. First quarter, Lions rolling out and throwing here, but here comes Dundee's Devin Jensen with the one-handed interception. That is our play of the night. Later in the first half, Lions back on offense. Nicholas Farah throws. Watch out. This is coming right at you. Couldn't hold on. Good effort there. Dundee trying to break the tie in the second. Justin New dodging tacklers. He's going to eventually fumble it. They pick it up at the 1, and then New takes it in from the score. No final on this one. They led it 7-0 at that point. We'll update it on 13wham.com.
Now, 13 Wham Sports.
Entering the Section 5 football season, Aquinas was once again the favorite in AA. Sure, the 8-time defending sectional champs lost a good deal of starters from last year's state championship team, but they brought back arguably the top player in the state. Today, though, the Irish started the task of playing without quarterback Jake Zembiec, who broke his wrist last weekend at Canisius and will likely miss the next 6 weeks. AQ hosting Section 6 of St. Joseph's and be a big help to get it going on the ground, and that's what the Little Irish did in the first quarter. Handoff to Terrence Richards, fakes inside, takes it to the far sideline for almost 50. Now, Aquinas didn't score on that drive, but did get points here. St. Joe's airmails the snap to the punter, and sophomore Tyler Olbrich gets the tackle in the end zone for the safety, and then later in the first, another handoff to Richards, and he powers through a crowd of marauders at the line to put Aquinas up 9-0 early, and if one is good, two is better. A minute left in the first half, pitch to Richards, pops to the outside, walks into the corner of the end zone to make it 16-0 at halftime. Little Irish go on to win on Alumni Weekend 39-7. Widely regarded as the best team in Section 5 after beating Pittsford, RH had Penfield at home this afternoon, late first quarter in a scoreless tie. Handoff to Gavin McDonald, weaves through a couple tackle attempts and reaches over the line for the touchdown. Now second quarter, Penfield trying to tie things up. Jake Palladino over the middle of the outstretched arms of the DB to Trelawney Salmon for the long completion. Patriots in business. Or are they? 2 plays later, Farden Allen jumps the route this time. He's going the other way on the Patriots turnover, and if you haven't had the chance to see RH's Jared Gerbino, you're missing out. Gerbino makes the most of it, fakes the handoff, keeps it himself on the run, sprinting past a handful of tacklers, going sideline to sideline, makes it 14-0 midway through the second, and RH would roll by a score of 55-14. Running back Josh Mack in Pittsford on the road to play the Red Raiders of Fairport today, already down 22-0. Fairport trying to get on the board deep in Panthers territory on 4th down, but Lane Stone gets the quarterback for the sack. Fairport going nowhere. Second quarter now, 4th down for Pittsford in Fairport territory, and Jack Wallman to the sideline, and Cyril Hendricks snags it with a defender on his back for the first down. The Panthers take advantage. Handoff to Mack, breaks to the corner, hops over a defender en route to a long touchdown run to make it 30-0. And Pittsford would get the ball back to end the first half. Wallman to the near sideline to a wide open Stone. Yeah, now on the offensive end for him, gives the Panthers a 37-0 halftime lead. Pittsford wins in impressive fashion, 58-13. Elsewhere around Section 5, Victor knocks off Canandaigua 23-7, while the Grecian battle ends 31-2 Arcadia at home. Yeah, at home in the city, Wilson holds holds on to beat Honeywell Falls-Lima. Batavia Notre Dame takes it 15-8 over Elba.
Now 13 Plam Sports.
All right, great night to be watching high school football tonight. Let's get right to the highlights. We've got Victor on the road against Webster. Schroeder tonight. Blue Devils up 7-0 in the first. Schroeder's Brett Segala throws down the middle, finding Brandon Gartland past the defender to tie things up. Now in the second, Victor QB, Mike Wagner fakes the handoff. Good block, jumps through a couple of defenders. Long scamper here. That sets up this. Wagner with the pitch to Joey Carrier. He dives in the end zone for 6, puts him up at half. Victor wins it 34-14. We continue our highlights. Toby Matika at Eastridge.
Mike, Eastridge and Irondequoit is a rivalry defined by just about 3 miles, but lately it's the Lancers who have been enjoying the success on the football field. Yeah, but both teams off to hot starts this year, meeting for the first time in 2 years. Eastridge, though, opening with a safety, and then Javon Hampton with a 2-0 lead. Dual threat quarterback keeps it this time. He's off to the races, and you're not catching him. 60-yard scamper for Hampton. Eastridge takes a quick 9-0 lead. You saw him run. Now watch him throw. Hampton rolls out near sideline. He's looking deep, and he's got his man downfield. Curtis Beatty snags it, and yeah, that's an easy path to the pylon for the touchdown. Eastridge looking like they're about to run away with it, but hold on 1 second. The Eagles finally get something going. Sean Mannion to Dylan Harrington, makes the catch, then the nice move back toward the sideline. Irondequoit gets itself on the board, but they simply could not slow down Eastridge's offense, and Hampton looking like another number 2. I guess we'll call him Javon football. Another touchdown for him. Lancers do indeed remain unbeaten, 55-35, but they are not the only undefeated team on the east side of Irondequoit. Bishop Kearney looking to stay that way against Cal-Mum, a rematch of one of the great games of last year. The Red Raiders, though, this time no match for the Kings. Todd LaRocca, 33 yards to Jalen Long. It was 18-0 Kearney. Cal-Mum would answer with a score, but the Kings answered back. Worked before, why not do it again? This time going the other direction, LaRocca to Long. Kearney wins again, Mike. They improved to 4-0 this season.
All right, Toby, we continue our highlights tonight. We've got a good one. McQuaid in action this evening, taking on Gates Chilai. Sean, Nally, and McQuaid tied at 7 in the third. Mike Hallen fakes the handoff, rolls out, hits Nally in the end zone for the touchdown. Spartans trying to get back in it. Miles McFadden takes the handoff, runs past the defenders to the end zone on the long TD run. We'll go to the end of the third. Check out the reverse to Nally. Watch what happens here. Off this, he's going to juke off one tackler down the field, breaks another tackler there, and get close to the end zone. Team switch sides in the fourth. Hallen with the toss to the back corner of the end zone. Demetrius Breedlove comes down with it. Knights get the victory, 30-20. With more highlights, let's go to John Dawes.
Yeah, Mike, we got a late start out here in Wayne tonight. Livonia had some transportation issues getting here, but not even a broken down bus could slow the Bulldogs tonight. And it started and ended with Livonia's Josh Henderson. The Bulldogs do it all. Tailback wasted no time. Livonia's first play from scrimmage. Henderson goes off tackle, gets a sweet kick out block by Ethan Perham, and he's gone. Bulldogs go up 7-0. And I promise you'll see much more from Henderson. But next play from scrimmage, Braden Zanelovich goes up top for a wide open Cameron LaForce. He's gone, makes it 7-7, and it looks like a barn burner out in Wayne County. Turns out Livonia's the only side that brought the matches, though. After another Henderson touchdown run made it 14-7, Josh got a little defensive. Henderson with the interception would lead to another Livonia touchdown. Bulldogs up 21-7, and Josh was just getting started. Second quarter, Henderson out wide, and number 30 got his Fred Jackson on. Stiff arms a defender, falls into the end zone. Livonia running away with it near the end of the first half. Why not? It's Henderson again, switches hands, and he's gone. Josh Henderson, 4 first-half touchdowns, and the Bulldogs roll on the road 64-7.
First tonight, Batavia Notre Dame a winner. Avon over Warsaw tonight. Also, Aquinas loses. Palmac over Newark.
On paper, this was the matchup of the year. On the field, it lived up to the billing. John Dawes has our high school matchup of unbeatens at Rush-Henrietta High School.
You know, we've already got one candidate for Game of the Year, and that also involved Rush-Henrietta when the Comets knocked off Pittsford a couple of weeks ago. But today, RH hosted Thomas in a battle of unbeatens. And what a treat it was to watch one of Section 5's top players in Jared Gerbino go up against Thomas's stout defense. But in the second quarter, the Comet offense got the better of the Titans. Joseph Ortiz takes the bubble screen 60 yards to the end zone. Comets led 14-0 at halftime, but the third quarter belonged to Webster Thomas. After a Steven Zaccardo touchdown cut the lead to 7, Brendan Smith finds Stone Melika across the middle, and the Titans even things at 14, and it stays that way into the fourth. 5 minutes to play, and it's Smith again this time. Rolls right, throws back across the field to Alex Hutchings for the touchdown grab, and just like that, Thomas scores 20 unanswered and takes the lead. But the Titans missed the extra point. You can't do that, and that proves costly because RH drives right down the field, and Reggie Robinson takes him down to the 1. He'd score on the next play. Comets kick the extra point and hold on for the 1-point home win.
But we do have another matchup, which included a team from the Finger Lakes coming into downtown Rochester. It was part of a doubleheader at East High School. Canandaigua making the trip to take on Wilson, and it was all Braves from the first snap. Wildcats throwing. Ryan Heeb getting in untouched. Big hit on the sack, and then Canandaigua just turns it right back around and scores. Tanner Cooper, a beautiful ball to the corner for Lehman Castine. Canandaigua absolutely rolls to a win, 47-22. Heard John mention Pittsford earlier in the highlight. You can't sleep on the Panthers. They're still very much a top contender in Section 5. And in the nightcap, they were at St. John Fisher hosting Hilton. What an addition Josh Mack has been for the Panthers. The running back on a tear this year, and he just rips right through the offensive and defensive line there. 79 yards later, he's running into the end zone for 6. He made it 79 yards in a pretty quick amount of time. Ensuing Hilton drive, Cadets throwing, but check out Zerl Hendrick. Playing center field, coming over to go up, get it, and then come down with it. Yeah, you can celebrate that catch, young man. That's contender for play of the week, and he'd reward himself on the other end. Pittsford on 4th down and long. Jack Wallman, why not? That's going to happen. Hendrick keeping both feet in. He only needed 1. Panthers go up 2 scores, and they win big, 54-29. Fairport under some Saturday night lights at home against East High School. First quarter, they're up 14-0. Give it to Jihadi Pryor, breaking it to the outside, cutting back in, lowering the shoulder, dragging a couple defenders, gaining 25 yards. And on the next play, stick with him because he's going to stick it to the defense. Look at the balance as he hops, skips, and jumps his way in. They're up 21-0, and yes, please, on the chest bump. Now second quarter, Pryor show on every channel, or at least this one. Untouched in for 6. Fairport wins it big over East High School tonight, 41-8. Some more scores for you. Brockport now 4-0. They beat Brighton tonight. Penfield takes down Leadership. A couple of other scores still going on. UPrep 30-25 over Arcadia. Athena beats a crosstown rival 35-6. Out at HFL, the Cougars handle the Saints of Churchville-Chili, while Spencerport picks up the win at Edison.
Now, 15 Wham Sports.
All right, Friday night lights were turned on early this week out of respect to Yom Kippur. A few games were moved to Thursday this week, and that included the Victor Blue Devils at home tonight against Hilton, down 7-0 in the third. Hilton's Zachary Thorpe with the pump fake, the long heave to Taryn Lopez. Gets by the defender, touchdown there. Now, things tied up. Hilton with the ball again, trying to get a first down. But Dan Barrow rips it out right before the play ends. He steals it. He's got the ball. Now, 14-7, Victor's Mike Wagner on the keeper in a crowd. And then he emerges right down the sideline, going to take it all the way to the 2. That sets up this handoff to Joe Carrier, pounds it through the middle. Blue Devils up 21-7. Victor goes on to win it tonight, the final 27-7. In an earlier game today, Penfield hosted Fairport scoreless after 1 quarter before Jake Hewitt gets loose. He'll take it in, untouched, and the leap. Now, wait a minute. Yeah, we'll give him the touchdown, but let's take another look at the leap. He kind of aborted halfway through, but he gets in and he scores. More defense here for Penfield, trying to come up with the play. But Jahari Pryor explodes through the middle for the 28-yard run to tie it up. It was 14-7 on the counter move. It's Pryor again. Takes it down the far sidelines. He is gone for the score. Fairport wins it tonight. The final in that one, 31-21.
Now, 15 Wham Sports.
It's time flying after this weekend. Just 2 weeks left in the regular season for Section 5 football. So the games now have a ton of meaning. We've got highlights of Batavia hosting Geneva tonight. Battle of two of the Class B's top 4 teams. Scoreless tie in the third. Batavia going up top. Marquand Ross gets a hand on it. Ooh, might have hit the ground. They give him the interception. He will take it. 2 plays later, the handoff to Mark Sacheski, and he finds a big hole, and he is gone. Take our word for it. 90 yards later, he's gone for the touchdown. They lead it 7-0. Now in the fourth, Batavia's Greg Merzick fakes the handoff, takes it himself, gets the touchdown. They get the 2-point conversion. Batavia holds on to win it tonight. The final 8-7. With more highlights, we go to John Doss.
Yeah, Mike, we wondered how the Section 5 offenses would do tonight in this weather. It was wet, it was windy, and we were going to find out in Webster. 2 of the best offenses in Section 5 squaring off when Webster Schroeder hosted Rush-Henrietta. Schroeder's first drive, Warriors were threatening, but Joseph Ortiz was patrolling the end zone. He comes away with the interception, and we're going the other way. Ensuing RH drive, though, Jared Gerbino throwing, and Noah Siesto goes J.J. Watt on it. Tips it up, picks it off. Siesto takes it down to the 2. Schroeder punched it in a play later to go up 7-0. But the Comets drive right down the field on their next possession, and Gerbino gives to Gavin McDonald, who punches it in and ties it at 7. Then after an RH defensive stand, it's Gerbino again. This time rolling right and throwing back across the field to a wide open Farden Allen in the end zone. Comets back on top, but Schroeder was on a mission tonight in front of a homecoming crowd in Webster. Austin Oshwasia takes it in, and Schroeder hands Rush-Henrietta its first loss of the year. There are no unbeatens left in AA. And speaking of unbeatens, boy, the weather didn't affect Bishop Kearney tonight. You've seen Todd LaRocca light it up through the air this year, but check this out. Pumps, keeps it himself, lowers the shoulder at the goal line, and that's how you earn a little respect here in Section 5. And then later, LaRocca doing what LaRocca does best. Finds Ardell Brown on the post. He scores, and Bishop Kearney rolls over Perry.
All right, so Wilson thought it was a good idea to bring the defense today in their game against East. Opening kickoff. Keep an eye on that football. Gets poked out here. Earl English is going to scoop it up. 15 seconds into the game, Wildcats lead it 8-0. They would roll to the victory tonight. The final in that one, 28-0. We continue our highlights in Avon. Here's Toby Matika.
Mike, out here in Avon, the Braves were hosting a Letchworth team with just 1 blemish on its record, a loss to unbeaten LeRoy 2 weeks ago. Indians 3-1 so far this season. The host Braves, though, just 1-3, but did win last week. We'll pick it up. Avon up 7-0 at half, but first play of the third quarter, that's Manny Cuevas, 69 yards, nobody in sight. 2-point attempt, though, no good, so Letchworth still down by 1. Avon ball now. Cuevas again. Yeah, he's playing defense now. Comes flying from the far side for the sack. It felt like Letchworth was about to take this over, but the Braves would get the ball back again. And this time, they finish the drive. Joe Sotak keeps it, gets it, and he's going to celebrate with his teammates with a secret handshake. 13-6 Avon after 3. Fourth quarter now, Sotak feeling the pressure. Rolls left, throws left. That's Zach Loomis who gets upended on the play. Looked like a nasty hit for all parties, but everyone was okay. Avon, though, better than okay. The Braves were great. This is Brandon Minter. Check out the cutback on this run. Braves would go up 28-6. Mike, Avon gets its second win by handing Letchworth just its second loss.
Quite a night of football, including here in Section 5, as we put a nice little bow on Week 5 with a couple of huge games. How about Eastridge and Brockport? Lancers and Blue Devils meeting under the lights in Brockport and meeting undefeated at least for half an hour of game time or so. 12-10 Eastridge lead until Josh Michaels, nothing there, changes his mind, decides to tuck and run. Brockport up 17-12. Lancer answer, though. Javon Hampton didn't have far to go. That's as easy as it gets for the QB. Eastridge up 20-17. Fourth quarter, Chris Carlson, 27-yarder to tie it. into the drizzly Brockport night. It's good. 20-20 the score, but under a minute to go. Lancers on the 10, and Hampton, oh, he's just so tough to stop in the open field. Lancers would get an interception to seal the deal. They move to 5-0, drop Brockport to 4-1, 26-20. Pittsford and Aquinas meeting over at AQ. This thing was scoreless at halftime when Jameer Jones, his brother Jerron Jones, of course, becoming a superstar at Notre Dame. Jameer filling in for Jake Zembiec at quarterback. Well, he's doing so admirably here. Jameer bounces it outside and goes all the way. Aquinas had a 7-0 lead. After a safety made it 9-0, check out this play. Terrence Richards, it looks like he's down, but spins away, somehow manages to just find the open field. I think everyone else thought he was down too. Touchdown made it 16-0. Pittsford facing 3rd and 26. Jack Wallman, this is how you get your team going. Zerl Hendrick getting the catch, getting the first down. Conversion complete. The drive would continue into the 4th. Wallman to Lane Stone. That's a football name, and that's a football play. Pittsford would score 13 in a row, but that was all they could muster. Aquinas holds on to win 16-13. Scores from earlier today. Red Jacket, they're the real deal. All over Dundee. And just down the road, Canandaigua, big winner over Churchville-Chili. In Greece, Athena hands Irondequoit another loss, while McQuaid beats Edison by a couple of scores. Hey, Rush-Henrietta and East High School both played football just recently on Friday night, but 4 days later, they're facing off against each other. What a quick turnaround for RH and East on a rare Tuesday game. Royal Comets coming off their first loss and angry about it. Up 14-0 when Jaron Gerbino finds Fardin Allen. He's in the open field calling for blocks, gets one at the end and trips his way into the end zone. 21-0, RH had the lead. Later on in the second, Gerbino, he knows who the moneymaker is, finds Allen once again. Great throw, nice catch, easy run. Royal Comets win easily, 48-7.
We are closing in on the end of the regular season in high school football. Tonight, we begin our highlights. John Doss in LeRoy. John.
Yeah, Mike, game of the night tonight finds us in Class C country. Unbeaten LeRoy hosting 5-0 Bishop Kearney. Both these teams very different. Bishop Kearney is going to air it out. LeRoy's more of a ground and pound, but tonight both found success through the air. BK down 14-0 when Todd LaRocca finds Ardell Brown on the deep post. That combo's been great for them all year. Gets the Kings to within a score. But remember that LeRoy run game we talked about? Well, forget it. Mike McMullen puts it up, and Ryan McQuillan runs underneath it. How many times have we seen those two hook up for touchdowns over the last couple years? Has LeRoy back up 2 scores, and then Kearney driving in a Watkin Knight territory. But it's that dude McQuillan again. Ryan gets the pick, and LeRoy goes on to win the battle of unbeatens.
All right, John, let's go to the Bishop Kearney game tonight. Their star wideout, Carlton Ekior, moved over to quarterback tonight for Brockport, and, well, he can go. Off the first play of the 4th, takes the snap, takes it the distance, 81 yards for the touchdown, gives his team the lead. Later in the 4th, Athena up 1. Tavon Grandison fakes the handoff and goes on his own. That's a 70-yard score. They're up by 8. Brockport trying to tie it up late in regulation. Long pass attempt, but Vince Sofing here comes down with the interception. Trojans win it tonight, the final, 23-15. How about Brighton hosting HFL? Barons up 2 in the 3rd. Matt Stone going to follow his blocks, going to burst through the line, and he is gone. 37 yards for the touchdown, makes it a 9-point game. They're still up 9 in the 4th. Cougars, Dan Hart's going to roll right. He's going to look for his big receiver, Paul Tobin, and he's going to dive just short of the goal line. It would lead to a touchdown, 28-25. Next Barons possession, they give it to the big fella, fullback Corey Goldberg, and he's going to rumble deep into HFL territory, led to another Stone TD. Brighton wins it tonight, 42-32. The Saints of Churchville-Chili at home against Greece Arcadia. Right after going up 7-0 early, Titans kicking it off, and the ball is going to end up on the ground. Arcadia recovers on the ensuing drive. Arcadia throws it. Dan Bovey jumps the route, and he is gone. Touchdown ties it up, 7-7. Now in the second quarter, we'll have more offense. Fidel Norris is going to fake the handoff. He's going to run through the hole. He's in for the touchdown. Arcadia goes on to win it tonight, the final, 42-35. 26. How about this one? Eastridge at home in action tonight against Olympia. Here's your highlight. Javon Hampton over the middle looking for C.J. Turner. Watch this play here. He's going to head towards the goal line and then make the nice little cutback move here. He knows how to find the end zone. It is 7-0 East Irondequoit. Next play for the Lancers. Bobby Albritton's going to get it to the edge, and, well, they're just not going to catch him. 52 yards for the touchdown. Eastridge wins it over Olympia tonight, the final 40-7. A couple of more scores tonight. Irondequoit edges Canandaigua in a game tonight, 21-19, and Spencerport with the upset of Webster Thomas. They take it 35-28.
We are just 1 week from the finish of the Section 5 football regular season, but two teams were trying to stay unbeaten in Class B today. The Livonia Bulldogs, literally Bulldogs, at home today against Bath Haverling in a battle of unbeatens. Fourth quarter, Michael Rice rolling out, but check out the Tim Tebowism. Jump pass. Jack Taggart, right place, right time. It's 38-19 Bath. Ensuing kickoff. Livonia fields it cleanly, but that's where the cleanliness ended. Fumbled away. Harley Lyons there to recover for Bath. That would set up this. Just a few plays after that, Rice going to keep it himself on the 1-yard seam over the pile. Bath with a big win over Livonia. They stay unbeaten today, 45-27. Webster Schroeder on the road at Fairport. Red Raiders had a 1-point lead at halftime over Schroeder, who just, of course, upset Rush-Henrietta. Austin Ajua punches it in from 2 yards out. Webster going up 20-14. Fairport would eventually tie it before Brett Segella hits Brandon Gartland on the quick slant, and he is going to stay on his feet and goodbye. That would prove to be the difference. Schroeder would hold on to this one, 26-20. Big night for Josh Mack in Pittsford at St. John Fisher. Panthers hosting Penfield, 3-0 Pittsford early on. Check out the burst from Mack. He's going to bounce outside, goes untouched until, of course, he finds Channel 8 photographer Prescott Rossi. Down goes Rossi, in goes Mack. It's 11-0 Pittsford. Later in the first half, Mack stays patient behind his offensive line. Rossi, of course, long gone on this one. Pittsford gets the win, 38-20. Sorry, Prescott, it was too easy. Fun scene at Aquinas today where the Little Irish were hosting the annual rivalry game with McQuaid, and it's fun because of that atmosphere. The bleachers shaking every time McQuaid and Aquinas get together, but the winds were taken out of those Knights fans' sails pretty quickly. Opening kickoff, Ernest Edwards finds the football, finds green grass, and just wants to keep on seeing it. He runs into the opening kickoff touchdown. That's his second kick return TD. Little Irish up 6-0. Then early in the second, they hand off to Taylor Riggins. No relation to Tim that we know of. Tim's fictional, Taylor's real. He goes all the way for the score. Aquinas wins this one in a big way, 41-0.
Now, 15 Wham Sports.
All right, this is the last night of the regular season in Section 5 football, and there's still a lot to play for. How about Victor and Pittsford meeting tonight, fighting for the 2 seed in Class AA? It's 13-7 Blue Devils. Panthers marching Jack Wallman to Lane Stone. Stone does the rest. Long touchdown here gives Pittsford the lead at this point, 14-13. But Victor answers with 3. Mike Matheson's field goal is good. They're back up by 2. Less than 3 minutes to go. Victor trying to run out the clock. On 3rd and long, the halfback pass is going to be picked off by Zaril Hendricks. Pittsford with great field position and a chance in the closing seconds. They walk it up for the game-winning field goal, but it never had a chance. Victor's won 6 in a row. They take it tonight, 16-14. We continue the highlights. Big game at Hilton. Here's John Doss.
Yeah, Mike, you know, we talked about it all day today. The most meaningful game of the night here in Section 5 was right here at Hilton. If the Cadets won, they were into the sectional playoffs. If they lost, they were out. So everything on the line for Hilton on homecoming on the brand new turf. Win and they're in. It was tied 21-all at halftime, but Webster goes right down the field and scores. Austin Achafea puts the Warriors up 28-27, but back come Hilton. Jonathan Letta to Justin Rezegi in the corner of the end zone all by himself. We're tied up again at 28 after they traded scores. It's 35-all. Warriors throwing, and Rezegi steps in front of the pass, and he's taking it the other way. 51 yards all the way down to the Webster 20. And on the ensuing drive, Dylan Philman punches it in. Hilton is going to the sectional playoffs. Cadets win it 49-42. And that was bad news for both Fairport and Spencerport, the winner of which would have taken that final sectional spot had Hilton lost. Instead, just playing for pride tonight at Spencerport. First possession for Fairport. It's Devin Williams who plunges in, gives the Red Raiders the lead. But, boy, that Spencerport run game is tough to defend. You just lose those running backs back there, like Taj Eady, who goes in for the score. Ties things up, and then check this run out by Taj Snow. Breaks a tackle, hurdles a defender, and he's gone. Spencerport, they're not going to the sectional playoffs, but they end the regular season with a win.
Yeah, 28-19. All right, John, how about Rush-Henrietta, top seed in Class AA, trying to keep the momentum for the postseason in front of the big crowd against Gates Chi-Life. First minute of the game, Gates going on the fake punt, but they get stopped. That play set up the handoff to Gavin McDonald, who takes it in for the score. Now towards the end of the first, Spartans throwing, but it's picked off by Rush-Henrietta. They would go on to the victory tonight. The final, Rush-Henrietta takes it 35-7. We continue tonight at McQuaid, where the Knights were taking on Wilson. McQuaid came into the game as the 7th seed in AA, hosting the Wildcats tonight. Knights were up 13-0 going into the fourth. Wilson with the screen pass, but Jeremiah Tarnowski there with the pick six and the score. Wilson trying to get on the board later in the fourth. They break a couple tackles in the backfield, but Jason Cunningham is there to get the sack. Fourth down, a couple of plays later, going up top, but McQuaid's Matt Zarami here comes up with the interception to seal it. McQuaid wins 21-0 tonight. We continue highlights with Toby Matika.
Mike, I'm here at Eastridge, where the Lancers had a chance to become the only team in classes AA, A, or B to finish an undefeated regular season at 7-0. The Lancers only had to get through winless Churchville-Chili to get to that 7-0 mark. The Saints may not have a win, but they do have Miles McKinney. The talented running back finds a big hole, and he's got the burst to get through it. McKinney runs in for 6, extra point no good, though. Churchville had a 6-3 lead. They would need more of that, though, to hold off the Lancers. C.J. Turner gets the rock here, turns on the burners, and hits the juke button and dragged down finally after a long gain. And just a few plays later, it's Javon Hampton. Number 2, don't fall for the spin move. Oh, they fell for it. He walks in for the touchdown. Eastridge does indeed finish the regular season undefeated, 56-26.
All right, Toby, how about East hosting Leadership today? They had to re-kick the opening kickoff, and that worked out well because on the re-kick, Breon Johnson finds a seam, and he is gone. Touchdown right there, put him up 6-0. Later, same score when Tavon Davis makes the 2-yard plunge to tie the game up at 6. Next possession for the Eagles. Raheem Gaydon to Davis. Nice move. That would lead to another touchdown. East would go on to win it tonight, the final 22-14. Couple of other scores for you. Red Jacket stays unbeaten, and Brian Moran gets his 200th regular season win for LeRoy.
Today was the final day of the Section 5 football regular season. Little more than seeding points on the line for most teams, though some were hoping to still get in. Momentum, of course, also on the line. You always want to head into those playoffs on a winning note. How about Greece Athena? Right now, the 2 seed in Class A trying to hold on to that, hosting HFL, who needed a win to have any chance of getting in. Early first, Athena's first play from scrimmage. Signori Capin breaks a couple tackles at the line, follows his blocks, takes it all the way for the score. Athena out to a quick 7-zip lead. Trojans defense, though, forcing 3 first-quarter turnovers, and here's one of them. HFL inside the red zone before John Vale comes away with the pick. No points for the Cougars, and they could have used them because you know Athena can put them up. Check out this run by quarterback Tavon Granison. Weaving, breaking tackles. Look at that okey doke. Oh, down inside the 20. He would be rewarded a couple plays later with a score. Athena rolls by 3 touchdowns, 28-7. It was windy, by the way. Not sure if you saw Mark's forecast. He was right. Down the road at Greece Arcadia, Titans hosting Brockport, and the Blue Devil defense flexing today. Big Seth Johnson with the sack just before halftime. Brockport led 28-0 at the intermission. Arcadia trying to climb back into it, but Chris Carlson there with the interception. All Brockport today. They're looking good heading into the postseason, 0-0. Current Class A 6th seed Irondequoit traveled to Greece Olympia for a Saturday showdown. Second quarter, Eagles up 7-0. Spartans a little off on the pitch. David Norton eventually corrals it for the fumble recovery in Olympia territory. And then the blue and gold, Curtis June gets a big lead block from Salvatore Amico. Storms into the end zone. It was 17-0 Eagles. A few drives later, Irondequoit's Sean Mannion keeps it for himself, sheds a couple tacklers, big gain. And then just 2 plays after that, Jason Albritton. Team effort today for Irondequoit. He's coming into your living room virtually untouched. Irondequoit up 24-0 right before halftime, and we'll update that score for you later tonight. We were still waiting for it. Hey, also, Canandaigua in a matchup of the 7 and 8 seeds in Class A. The Braves look the part of the playoff team. They get the win 33-12 as those teams march toward the postseason. Penfield Patriots on their home turf this afternoon against Edison Tech, closing out the season. Third quarter, Patriots up 27-6. Investors trying a halfback pass. Oh, tricky. But Adam Cordes picks it off in a crowd, and he's going to tack on a nice little return here for the black and red. Patriots in good field position. That interception would set up this in the fourth quarter. Jake Palladino toward the sideline where it finds Trelawney Salmon, and he does the rest for the touchdown. Penfield trying to run out the time now. On 4th and long, Zach Kimmon's going to break it to the outside. He's got the first down, so the clock's going to keep running, but no, he wants more. Penfield rolls on this day, 34-6, the final score.
All right, the playoffs are here. Section 5 postseason getting underway tonight. We'll begin in Class AA, the 4 versus the 5. Thomas hosting McQuaid. Scoreless in the first. Steven Zaccardo going to bounce it near sidelines. Breaks a couple of tackles. He's off for a big gainer. From deep in his own territory, he's past midfield. That drive would continue into the second. 3rd and goal at the 10. Brendan Smith to Alex Hutchings for the touchdown. Titans up 7-0, but McQuaid tries to respond, moving downfield. Mike Hollins' pass is picked off by Stone Maleka here. Then the Titans go on to win it tonight, the final 21-7. With more highlights, we go to Victor and John Dawes.
Yeah, Mike, we talked about it all week. So much parity from top to bottom within AA here in Section 5, so you had to figure, even though it was a 1 seed versus an 8 seed, this Victor Schroeder game was going to go down to the wire. And the Blue Devils and Warriors did not fail us. Early on, Jamie Trimboli in the backfield. Play action. Then finds the quarterback, Mike Wagner, out in the flat. Wagner dives into the end zone. Victor goes up 7-0, but back comes that high-powered Webster Schroeder offense. Brett Segala, this ball should have been intercepted. Instead, it's a Will Blake catch and score. It is 7-all, and please find your exit to the barn. This thing's going to burn down later on. It's Wagner again. You saw him catch a touchdown this time. Patient, reads the blocks. He runs it in for the score. Victor up 14-7, but back come the Warriors. Segala with the beautiful ball over the middle to Zyrese Lloyd. It is tied up at 14, but a big moment here. Victor drove down the field just before halftime, opted for the field goal, and Mike Matheson nails it. It's 17-14 at the break, and those were 3 important points because the Blue Devils led it 31-28 with just seconds to go. Segala trying to be the hero. Instead, he goes down. Victor wins. The top seed holds on, and they're moving through. And speaking of top seeds, this one was never in doubt out in Livingston County. Livonia taking on Mid-Lakes, and the Bulldogs already up big at halftime. It's Brody Metcalf with the play fake. He's going to hold on to it himself, find the far sideline, and he's gone. Livonia rolls Mid-Lakes. The Bulldogs are on to the next round.
Yes, John. All right, let's continue with highlights. We move to Class A tonight. We've got a 4-5 matchup in this one. It was Irondequoit taking on Canandaigua. Let's go to the highlights of that one tonight. The Eagles had built a 14-7 lead at half, but opened it up in the third. Sean Mannion here looking for Dylan Harrington. He climbs the ladder to get it, and he is gone. 60 yards for the score. It's 21-7. We continue with the highlights. Fourth quarter, Mannion looking for Harrington again finds him again. 62 yards for the score. It's 28-7. This one wasn't over, though. 28-14. Canandaigua backed up at its own 4-yard line. Tanner Cooper to Lamont Castine. He's in the open field. When all is said and done, he would go 85 yards to the 15, but they still had work to do. Very next play, Harrington playing the D this time, picks it off to seal the deal. Irondequoit moves on with the victory, 28-14 tonight.
For the last 8 years, Section 5 has gone through Aquinas. But this year, Class AA figured to be wide open, thanks in part to star quarterback Jake Zembiec breaking his non-throwing wrist back in Week 2 and missing the rest of the regular season. Good news for the Little Irish tonight, but bad news for everyone else. The reigning New York State Player of the Year made his return for Aquinas in the Class AA quarters. A rematch with Pittsford at left wrist still wrapped up, but ready to go. Aquinas, though, leaned on the run game while he was out and kept leaning on it in the first half today. Touchdown there, putting Aquinas up big. Then later on, they're going to get another. Ernest Edwards, man who just ran it, runs it again. This time, a whole lot farther than before. Aquinas up 23-0 at the half. Second half now, Pittsford starts with the ball. Give it to their horse, Josh Mack. This kid's had an unbelievable season. And check out this run. Reverses field, breaks a couple of tackles, and then won't go down until the entire Aquinas team says so. That led to a touchdown, but the very next Little Irish possession, it's Zembiec. He aired a couple out today. His numbers weren't great. He missed on a couple of deep balls, but this one he connects and lets his back do the work. Taylor Riggins, long touchdown catch and run. Aquinas up 30-7, and then a lightning delay, weather delay. And after nearly 2 hours, they postponed it until Sunday. They'll resume Sunday at 1, so today at 1, with Aquinas up 30-7 in the third. We're going to keep it in Class AA. Whoever wins that game plays the winner of this one. Rush-Henrietta hosting Hilton. Hilton, of course, sneaking in on the season's final day, but Royal Comets with a big lead in the third. Jared Gerbino to Fardin Allen. He scampers into the end zone. That was Rush-Henrietta's only touchdown of the half. They didn't need any more. The defense came to play. Stephen Clark, hello! Rush-Henrietta wins easily over Hilton today, 42-21. 2-7 matchup in Class A at Windy Grease between Athena and Arcadia. Scoreless in the first. Quarterback Tavon Granison. Who's got it? Who's got it? Hey, there he is. We found him. He finds 6. 6-0 Athena after the extra point is no good. Later in the first quarter, 4th and long. Granison, pump fake, fakes out everybody, and then he's running far side, stays in bounds, and that's an easy one. Floats it to Justin Rathbun. First down, Athena, and then 3 plays later, it's Granison. Methodical to Asundi Dinga. Athena rolls over Arcadia. They're on to the semis, 33-0. Moving on down to Class D. D1 semis. Bishop Kearney in the 2-3 matchup against Dundee. Kearney down 7-0. Todd LaRocca finds Ardell Brown. Nice job hanging onto the ball. Awkward fall. Nice catch. 8-7 Kearney after they go for 2. Third quarter now. 4th and goal for BK. LaRocca, though, picked by Devin Jensen. He keeps points off the board for the Kings. However, his team wouldn't get any on that possession. They give it right back to Kearney, and LaRocca from the same spot learns from his previous mistake to Justin Davis. Bishop Kearney's on to the D1 final, 22-12. How about the other half? The unbeaten Red Helmets, or Red Jacket, we should say, taking on Geneseo. Andrew Ogrodowski, might as well call him Ogre. Long touchdown run, putting Red Jacket up 2 scores. Geneseo, the big underdog, by the way. Don't tell this to Jake Clark. Hits Alec Rice on the deep pass. That's money. Touchdown brings Geneseo back within a touchdown, but it was all Red Jacket from there on 4th and goal. This is a team that doesn't like to pass much, but when they do, they prefer Dos Equis. Red Jacket, a big winner today, 52-6. Your final. Couple of scores from Class D2 semis. Clyde Savannah, a winner over Letchworth. They will play Avon in the final, who pulled off the minor upset over Alexander.
You're watching 13 Wham ABC. And this is 13 Wham News at 5.
The Aquinas football team could be out of the playoffs despite outscoring Pittsford in a game last weekend.
I'm very disappointed in the decision today because it hurts 50 kids.
The Little Irish promising to be the Fighting Irish over this. Aquinas was ruled out for having an ineligible player in last weekend's game against Pittsford.
The powers that be in high school football here say that's a rules violation that should cost them that victory. 13 WHAM Sports Director Mike Catalana live at Aquinas Institute, where the coach, the principal, the athletic director announced their plans to appeal. Obviously, it's a great day, and it's a great day for Aquinas today, Mike.
Yeah, you got that right, Doug. The clouds coming in, and that's kind of the mood out here at Aquinas today. But it is also a defiant mood. Aquinas, for now, is not in the Section 5 playoffs any longer, but they are fighting. They are going to do it by the legal process to try to remain in the Section 5 playoffs. At issue, the eligibility of their star player, quarterback Jake Zembiec. Now, Zembiec did play in the Rush-Henrietta playoff game against Pittsford this weekend. He had played in the first 2 games of the regular season. Hurt his wrist, broken wrist. He was out the rest of the regular season. But the rules state he must be eligible for 3 games. And it all comes down to that eligibility question. And while the people here at Aquinas believe they had followed those rules, the state did not. And so Zembiec is out, and the team is out for the rest of the playoffs. And now Pittsford would continue to play. Chris Battaglia is the coach at Aquinas, and he said today they're going through the legal process, and tomorrow they'll be back on the field practicing.
We're going to start up tomorrow. Our lawyers have told us to do that, so we're going to go back and practice tomorrow. I don't want to get caught in the middle of a stay or whatever happens with the playoffs. I just want them to let us play. We won the game fair and square. We beat them twice during the season. And I don't think there's any reason why we shouldn't go on to represent Section 5 and play Rush-Henrietta and whoever wins after that.
Now, there is a statement from Ed Storrs, the executive director of Section 5, and in it, Ed Storrs says that Section 5 is following the rules mandated by the State of New York Athletic Association. They are following those rules, and by those rules, the Aquinas team is out of the playoffs. John Doss joins me now, and John, those rules came about because of an anonymous phone call to the state. And my thinking, and based on what you heard in that news conference, there wouldn't be an anonymous call if it wasn't Aquinas and it wasn't Jake Zembiec.
Yeah, actually, and you asked that question. If this wasn't Jake Zembiec and Aquinas, would this be happening? Anthony Bianchi said in 2 words, no chance. And now, Mike, this is something that has become part of Jake Zembiec and Aquinas and his family's life, is following rules. But usually we're always talking about eligibility as far as the next step goes for him, not eligibility as far as playing the game here. They said as far as their understanding has always been, eligibility for an injured player meant medical clearance. They say they got that, and they sent that to Section 5 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and what John's referencing, of course, is Jake Zembiec is one of the most highly recruited players ever in Section 5. He is a junior. He is a high-profile player. And, guys, a lot of people know that he is the key to any football team, certainly this Aquinas team, and now he and his team are out, but they're still fighting. So we'll have more on this coming your way at 5:30, including what the school principal has to say about Aquinas being out for now, but still fighting. Doug?
Mike, I know you're getting soaked, though. I'm going to make it quick, but really this puts 3 schools in a tough spot. Aquinas, Pittsford, who thinks they're playing but they're not sure, and Rush-Henrietta, the team that's waiting to find out who it ends up playing.
You make an excellent point there, Doug, because that Pittsford team had to play based on 2 days. They started the game Saturday, were losing, lightning delayed it, they finished the loss on Sunday, and now they're back to practice, getting ready for a game they didn't think they would play. Rush-Henrietta is waiting, and that's another thing we'll talk about at 5:30. How long will Aquinas keep this fight going? At what point would it be a detriment to Section 5 and to the playoffs? We'll talk more about that coming your way. Hopefully the rain stops in about a half an hour.
We're going to get you guys a bigger umbrella next time. All right, thank you.
All right, try to stay dry. Well, this afternoon, Pittsford released this statement, quote, "We have great respect for the Aquinas Athletic Department and its players and wish them well. Our thoughts remain with the players, fans, and coaching staff during this difficult time." For now, at least, the Pittsford Panthers are back in it with a semifinal game against Rush-Henrietta on the schedule for Saturday.
We're pumped to get another shot at it.
And new at 5:30, reaction from Pittsford students, the district, and why the team facing a big game in just 4 days isn't practicing just yet.
You're watching 13 WHAM ABC. And this is 13 WHAM News at 5:30.
We are going to begin practice again tomorrow. Our lawyers have stressed to us to go out and practice, and we intend to be at Salem Stadium on Saturday to play Rush-Henrietta.
A bombshell in Section 5 football. Aquinas told it has to forfeit its win against Pittsford from last weekend after its star quarterback was ruled ineligible. Now, Aquinas could be forced to watch the rest of this year's postseason from the sideline, as Pittsford would then move on to play Rush-Henrietta in the semifinals this weekend.
The player in question is the reigning state player of the year. Junior quarterback Jake Zembiec was ruled ineligible for the postseason because he only dressed for 2 regular season games due to injury before playing in the win against Pittsford last Saturday. The rule says players must dress for at least 3 of those games to be eligible for the postseason.
Well, a lot to digest here. We've been tracking both sides of the story all afternoon. We're going to get to Jane Flash in a minute with the Pittsford perspective. For now, though, we turn to sports director Mike Catalana, who is live inside the Aquinas Institute right now.
Yeah, the rain's still going. We are inside. And, guys, you set that up really well, talking about exactly why there is this rule, and it is based on a player being eligible, playing 3 regular season games during the year, and Jake Zembiec technically only played in 2 this year. So how did the state know about it? It was an anonymous phone call to the state, eventually relayed to Section 5, that eventually led to Section 5 ruling that Jake Zembiec and his Aquinas team would not be eligible to continue play. Now, Zembiec did play in the playoff game that they won against Pittsford on Saturday and then extended into Sunday. At that time, Aquinas officials felt strongly that they were within the rules of Section 5 in the state going forward, and that Zembiec would be eligible. In fact, Ted Mancini, the principal of Aquinas, addressed that in a news conference about a half an hour ago.
We certainly did not think that this was a breakdown in communication. We believe that the communication was very clear and that we were following the procedures and the guidelines that were put in place for us to follow based on past practice and the history in Section 5.
Now, John Doss is here with me. You know, everybody hears the word eligibility, John, and we've heard this many, many times in different sports. But this is not what normally you would hear about an ineligible player costing a team a chance.
Eligibility has been the key word of the afternoon here at Aquinas, and certainly not. When you're looking at stuff like this, typically it's academic ineligibility, disciplinary ineligibility, kids that are transferring. And really, this rule is in place to make sure that a team can't go out there and better their team a week or 2 before the postseason with a kid that maybe he's a great player, but hasn't been there before. Let's make no doubt about it. And Coach Chris Battaglia said the same thing. Jake Zembiec is an A student. This is a disciplinary. This is an academic. It's strictly in that gray area of what they thought eligible meant. He suited up. He practiced before their last game, their last regular season game of the season. They said they thought that was good enough.
Now, here's the issue going forward. Aquinas knows that they cannot challenge this through the process of the state or even through Section 5. There is not enough time for that. That is why they are with their lawyers going through the legal process to get it done. Tonight, here at 6 o'clock, there is a meeting with the parents of the players. That is not a happy group, as their team right now is out of the playoffs. We'll have an update on that coming your way at 6 o'clock, guys.
All right, John and Mike, thanks. We're going to have more on that coming up. The Pittsford Panthers are apparently back in the playoffs, but with the semifinals just 4 days away, the team isn't practicing just yet. 13 Wham's Jane Flash is live outside Pittsford Sutherland with reaction and talk about the next move for the team.
Yeah, you know, the students we spoke with today are elated, but district officials remain very cautious. There is still this legal challenge, and so for this afternoon at least, the Panthers were not out on the practice field. Superintendent Michael Pirro released the following statement. We have great respect for the Aquinas Athletic Department and its players and wish them well. Our thoughts remain with the players, fans, and coaching staff during this difficult time. Now, students first saw the news in media reports on Twitter between classes. At first, no one believed they were true, but as more facts became clear, the excitement inside the school continued to build.
I saw the article about it, and I was actually quite surprised because I thought they were really out of the playoffs, but turns out they're going to be back in. I'm going to be rooting for them. It's going to be pretty awesome.
To have another chance to win sectionals probably is huge, and I think it's a great opportunity.
I think that's awesome. I think they're definitely going to use the opportunity, and it should be a great game.
Now, the district is not making the coaches or players available for media interviews at this time. The superintendent tells 13 WHAM News that is out of respect to Aquinas. Reporting live in Pittsford, Jane Flash, 13 WHAM News.
You're watching 13 WHAM ABC. And this is 13 WHAM News at 6.
We felt we were telling the truth the whole way, and we weren't trying to deceive anybody. And it didn't go in our favor, but guess what? A lot of things in your life aren't going to go in your favor.
Aquinas' football coach says they are moving on after a judge late today upheld the team's disqualification from the Section 5 playoffs. Good evening. The judge ruled today the team will not be allowed to play tomorrow. Aquinas Institute filed a lawsuit this week after it was forced to forfeit its recent quarterfinal win against Pittsford for an apparent violation of Section 5 rules. At issue was the eligibility of the team's quarterback, Jake Zembiec. We're going to hear from him in just a second. We have team coverage tonight. Jane Flash standing by in the newsroom to explain the decision. Cody Combs out of Pittsford-Mendon, where the football team is preparing to play tomorrow. Kelsey Smith live at Aquinas, but first right to John Doss, who spoke to the team's star quarterback just moments ago. John.
Yeah, Don, as you can imagine, a difficult moment, a difficult week for everybody that was on that Aquinas football team. I think opinions kind of get thrown out the window in a court case, right? That's not our job, is to talk about opinions. But I think most everybody felt bad for all the kids involved with this. Rush-Henrietta, Pittsford, and certainly Aquinas. Everyone felt bad for the kids. And today, just a tough ruling for Aquinas. Their season over. I caught up with Jake Zembiec just a couple of minutes ago, and he took me into that chapel at Aquinas where the team was waiting to hear the ruling, and absolute heartbreak, Don.
It's just weird because, you know, like the first time we found out, we all got called in for a meeting and nobody was expecting anything, you know, to be dropped on us. But this time we were going to either be torn apart or received great news. So it was weird. Of course, everyone was on their phone because that's how it is now, but just kind of suspenseful. I mean, everyone's expecting a ruling at 4, and then it came out probably closer to 4:30. I was just kind of laying there and listening to what everyone else had to say, but just a weird feeling.
Yeah, guys, and you know what, Don, Jake Zembiec, when this is all said and done, when his Aquinas career is over, he will undoubtedly be the most highly touted, highly recruited player in Section 5 history. All of that said, all of that future to look forward to, the quarterback's hurting. He put on his shoulder pads and his helmet to help his team win a sectional football game, and today a judge determined that he put on those shoulder pads and helmet about a week too late. We'll have more from Jake coming up in sports. Don?
All right. Hey, thank you, John. You can only imagine Jake years from now telling this story and relating this whole experience. Also out at Aquinas, Kelsey Smith, who spoke to the coach just about an hour ago, has been there most of the day as they awaited that decision. Kelsey?
Don, well, Coach Chris Battaglia says in general the team was prepared for this decision, but it will take them some time to get over it, but they will eventually get back to work. The school says they stand by their decision to pursue legal action. They say they were fighting an effort to do right by young men. Coach Battaglia says he's been shocked by the attention this has gotten and is glad it's come to an end.
I think for everybody, this has gotten out of control. This is crazy. I mean, I don't think I've talked in front of microphones and stuff like this in my life. This is a high school kid trying to play high school football. To be honest with you, I'm glad the judge made the decision. I'm glad this is all over.
Coach Battaglia and the principal say they have great respect for the teams left in the Section 5 playoffs and wish them all good luck. Live in Rochester, Kelsey Smith, 13 WHAM News.
All right, thank you, Kelsey. Now, the judge started court proceedings today acknowledging the difficulty of this day for all of the teams involved. You heard the coach talking about them being propelled into the spotlight. After 2 hours of arguments and hundreds of pages of evidence, the ruling from the judge was short and to the point. Jane Flash in the newsroom now to break it down for us. Jane?
Well, Don, much has been made about whether the quarterback was properly suited up at a game he didn't even play in order to be considered eligible for the playoffs. But this 12-page ruling didn't even delve into that issue. Now, the courtroom this morning was packed with coaches, former players, and attorneys. People who couldn't get inside watched from a screen outside. The key issue for the judge judge, it turns out, was whether Jake Zembiec had been medically cleared to play on October 18th. This doctor's letter says he was cleared 5 days before the game, but it wasn't dated until 3 days after. The judge said it is not consistent with another doctor's letter that Jake was cleared for gym class and only wearing a cast.
There has been no medical clearance presented to our association prior to that October the 18th game showing that he was medically cleared. If you don't have medical clearance, then you cannot be an eligible participant.
I got a clearance from my athletic trainer that Jake was set to go and begin his football, practicing and getting his rehab going and being out leading practice.
Was that a verbal or a written?
It was both.
The judge, however, says there was no documentation from that trainer in order to substantiate that. And once he ruled the quarterback was medically not eligible, he did not have to go any further in determining the decision for calling that forfeit was in fact reasonable and rationally made. Don?
All right. Hey, thank you, Jane. All right. Now we're going to move on to the other schools that were affected by the uncertainty all this week. First to Pittsford, where the team practiced this afternoon, not knowing if they would be playing tomorrow. Cody Combs is out at Pittsford Mendon High School with more on how that went. Cody?
Don, business as usual at Pittsford Mendon. Obviously, practice wrapping up about an hour ago. Here's a look at that practice. You can see it's kind of anticlimactic before and after, we should say. Even after this was made official by the judge that Pittsford would be the team playing in the sectional playoff game on Saturday. No real reaction. It wasn't really clear at any point if the team actually knew about it. Of course, now since they've gone to the locker room, they probably know about it right now. But maybe it's also strategy on part of the coach, an optics thing. You don't want to have this team appear overly excited because there are sensitivities here. Aquinas has got to be blown away by this decision, essentially. And, you know, there are sympathies on both sides here. I spoke with a parent picking up his daughter from school who expressed sympathy toward Aquinas. Take a listen.
I do feel very sorry for the kids at Aquinas. Obviously, they worked very hard all season. Obviously, they had one on the field last week, but part of winning is also following the rules, and unfortunately, the coaching staff made a mistake.
And very similar thoughts by the athletic director, Scott Barker, giving us this statement, quote, "We'd like to express our sincere respect for the Aquinas program. We recognize all the hard work they put into this season and how difficult this must be for them." No word yet from the Pittsford coach on this. We're trying to reach out and speak with him to hear what he has to say. No doubt he'll be busy preparing for tomorrow's game, something that's sort of been up in the air until now. But for now, they will be playing tomorrow on Saturday. Live in Pittsford, Cody Combs, 13 WHAM News.
All right, so much talk this week, this day, about high school sports off the field. Tonight, back the reason why people care so much. The game, Section 5 football semifinals underway tonight, including a crosstown rivalry. Irondequoit and Eastridge meeting. Well, they met in week 4 of the regular season. Lancers won it by 20 over the Eagles. Tonight, a different story. Irondequoit had the lead. Eastridge returning a punt, but the ball gets knocked away. Darius Brown on top of it at the 2-yard line. Irondequoit would punch it in a play later to take the lead. Then, later, the play of the night. Curtis June takes the handoff. You think he's down? He's not down. Knee never touched. He keeps going. He's in the end zone for the touchdown. Take another look at this. Talk about keeping your legs moving. Nobody's going to stop him. He would go all the way into the end zone and then celebrate with his teammate. They would go on to the victory tonight and move to the finals, winning it 44-20.
It was like last game, we made a lot of mistakes and they took advantage of those, so it's nice that everything comes full circle. You know, we had everything to win and they had everything to lose, and, you know, crosstown rivalry, anything can happen. It doesn't matter who's playing who.
You know, we were the benefactor of their mistakes this game, and, you know, we just took advantage and we came out and capitalized on every mistake that they made. And that's what they did last game. So it was a reverse role, and we won.
Irondequoit moves on. Now in the other game, Athena taking on Brockport in the Time Warner Sportsnet. Athena's Tavon Granison to Asanda Dimba here for the touchdown to put Athena on top. But later, Jason Michaels looking and finding Raphael Odie here for the touchdown. Brockport has the lead. About a minute left in regulation. Brockport up by 1. Athena gets the score. Grandison takes it himself for the touchdown. Greece, Athena moves to the finals with the victory tonight. The final 19-14.
The playoffs game between Rush-Henrietta and Pittsford is nearly over. The day after a judge upholds Section 5's decision forcing Aquinas Institute to forfeit for having an ineligible player. 13 Wham's Jennifer Lee is live at Stalen Stadium and shares mixed reactions from the stands.
Kelsey, with umbrellas and raincoats, supporters from both Rush-Henrietta and Pittsford were here to cheer on their teams. And they tell me it's been a very, very long week for the players, especially Pittsford, who didn't know if they were going to play today.
They just kept practicing and, you know, kind of just waited to see what would unfold.
They were doing all of their stuff for Aquinas because we actually did think that we were going to face them. It ended up we didn't.
Pittsford ended up playing today after a judge upheld a decision to knock Aquinas out of the playoffs. The issue circled around whether or not Aquinas' quarterback Jake Zembiec was eligible to play last week's game against Pittsford. Despite the final ruling, students from Aquinas showed up to this game.
Us coming showed us that, yeah, we're here, we're not going to stop, and whatever the judge says is not going to stop us. So
there's always next year. We're going to come back stronger no matter what happens. So Aquinas is always going to be here no matter what.
Football players from Aquinas were also here, but they did not want to speak with us. And it's been a very close game so far between Pittsford and Rush-Henrietta. Coming up later, we'll hear from both the winning and the losing side. Reporting live at Stalen Stadium, Jennifer Lee, 13 Wham News.
After a week that was just filled with distractions, it was finally back to playing football today. And that included the Class AA semifinal, where Rush-Henrietta was taking on Pittsford. A second life, of course, for the Panthers after Aquinas was forced to forfeit their quarterfinal win over the Panthers. And in the first half, they relished the opportunity, trailing 7-0 in the second when Josh Mack, he's been as good as anyone in Section 5, sprints 35 yards for the touchdown. We're tied at 7. Next Panther possession, check out Brandon Barker. Barker takes the handoff. Oh, surprise, hops over the defender and gets in. Score with about 1:30 left is 14-7 Pittsford. The RH, a big drive just before half. Jared Gerbino to Farden Allen. We are tied at 14, but the Panthers took control in the second. They have a 42-28 lead late in the fourth. Looks like they're going to be moving on. Hey, Victor's like, don't forget about us, guys. The top-seeded Blue Devils taking on Webster Thomas in the other half of that AA final. And Victor was shut out by Thomas in the season opener. You think they didn't remember? Mike Wagner to Zach Lefebvre. Victor up 20-7 at the break this time. Third quarter, though, Titans get that ground game going. Steven Zaccardo cuts it back. He crosses the goal line and is in. Thomas back within a touchdown. But back comes Victor. Wagner keeps it himself this time. Big kid for a quarterback who runs it. Kind of looks more like a big wide receiver out there. Touchdown once again gives Victor a 2-score lead. But then Zaccardo gets it back. You get a theme here. We kind of kept going back and forth here in the second half. It's a 1-score game, but problem for Thomas is they were down by 2 and they just kept trading, and that was good enough for Victor. Wagner again, this time no hiding it, up the middle and in. Blue Devils avenge their only loss. They're moving on 34-23. Let's take you to Class B. Livonia trying to put their stamp or paw on Section 5 this season. Top-seeded Bulldogs playing Geneva, protecting a 14-0 lead in the second. Kurt Cornball. Third down, flies in for the sack. Bulldogs take over. Brandon Snyder to Jack Horan. 6 foot, 240 pounds, and this man can rumble. Breaks a couple tackles and goes all the way for 6. Add the extra point. It's a 21-0 lead. Final seconds of the first half. Snyder back to the air to Josh Henderson in the flat. What's a Livonia highlight without a Josh Henderson score? Bulldogs cruise. They win 35-0, and it looks like they're going to play Batavia in the final. Batavia with a 35-12 lead late in the fourth in their semifinal game over Penn Yan. How about Class C? Top seed, LeRoy unbeaten, ranked second in the state And yeah, they looked the part against Dansville today, already up 22-0 early in the first. They hand off to Tom Kelso, cuts one way, then the other down the middle for the score. Now we go to the second quarter, still in control. Mike McMullen, fake handoff, goes to Jake Henry. That big catch set up a short touchdown run. And then later in the second, it started getting out of hand. McMullen screen pass to Henry. Check out the stiff arm. 1, 2, through everyone he goes and somehow manages to find his way in. That made it 42-0. Owatkin Knights do indeed win 54-0. And it looks like they're going to play Bath Haverling, the Rams, returning to prominence. They were so good late in the 2000s. They're all over ER Gananda late in the fourth of that one.
Pittsford football mom Kelly Palizzi says the win against Rush-Henrietta is their second chance to win it all.
I couldn't be any prouder of them. I'm so proud of them. They worked so hard. We're going all the way next week. Next Saturday will be the day.
A second chance that came unexpectedly after Aquinas was forced to forfeit last week's game against the Panthers. A judge upheld a Section 5 decision that quarterback Jake Zembiec was not eligible to play in sectionals. But this also left Rush-Henrietta not knowing their opponent until the day before the game.
I think that everyone was just really surprised, so I mean, we didn't really know what to expect, but I think like things will come together next year, maybe be better.
I'm a little sad. I wanted to cheer a little more. This is my last football game.
And even though the Royal Comets lost, they were gracious in their defeat.
They did a great job, not only this week, but all year with doing what we would expect a Royal Comet football player to do, which is to conduct themselves in a professional way in school, in practice, and our guys played real hard, and like I said, just tonight wasn't our night.
Both sides. You think about both kids fighting back and forth. The elements were tough. The kids were exhausted. You talk about two football teams were totally exhausted at the end. Those kids put everything into it. I'm proud of both the Panthers, but I'm proud of the Rush-Henrietta kids too. I mean, that was a heck of a battle. In terms of preparation, not knowing exactly where we're at, we lost and we were done. Then we got a game with Schroeder, and then we had to adjust that, and then we had to prepare for Rush. So, but nothing as bad as what the Aquinas kids have gone through, and that's the respect that we give. Truly, the best football team that I've seen this year in New York State is certainly Aquinas. A lot of respect for what's happened this year. Respect to Aquinas and respect to Rush-Henrietta. Not the way we wanted to fight for a sectional title. But the kids have done a great job preparing, and they're excited about it, and we're going to go do our best job next week.
Well, Friday and Saturday were the semifinals for most of Section 5. Today was Championship Sunday for Classes D and Double D. We'll start you in Class D. Red Jacket looking for a second straight title, fending off high-powered Bishop Kearney. Kings would score the first 14. Red Jacket scored the next 16. Corey Fogarty, touchdown run on the near sideline. It's 16-14 Red Jacket. Then the D went to work. Pass here downfield going to be tipped and picked off by Dan Colasurdo. He's going to get a nice little run back here, putting his team into good field position. That would lead to a touchdown. More defense now. Matt Peak, check out the slingshot sack. Oh, watch your shoulder. Red Jacket scored the final 50 points of this game. They are your Section 5 champs for the second straight year, 50-14.
It came out a little rough, but that's just, part of the game. We started doing our thing, kind of pounding the ball down their throats. That's what we did. We prepared all week. Other than that, BK is a great team. They really put us to the test, and I give props to them, too.
Going to be tough to beat moving forward, but they'll play the winner of this one in the Class D state qualifier between Avon and Clyde Savannah. Avon the 3 seed, the underdog on paper. Joe Sotak having none of it. QB keeper putting his team up 7-0. After an Avon interception, the Braves get it back. Check out the fake. Everybody goes with the fake. Zach Loomis, though, comes the other way. Long touchdown run makes it 14-0. The 3 seed Braves started the year 0-2. They haven't lost since. Sotak the dump off to John Seneviva. Avon is your Class D2 champs. They will take on Red Jacket in the qualifier next week.
All right, championship night, Section 5 football, Irondequoit getting to the finals when they knocked off crosstown rival Eastridge. Tonight, the challenge was taking on Greece Athena. Early on, Athena quarterback Timon takes it in for the score. They had the lead, but Irondequoit comes back. They go deep. Sean Mannion here. The bomb to Dylan Harrington. Touchdown, Irondequoit Eagles, but back comes Athena. Signori Capon here, going to take the handoff on the near side and watch the moves. Breaks to the outside, and then he's cutting it down the line for the touchdown. Athena has the lead, but Irondequoit goes deep again. Mannion looking and finding DJ Walker for the lead. Then Athena went up by 1. In fact, they late in the game drove to the Irondequoit goal line to try to put it away, but they fumbled it at their goal line. So Irondequoit got it back and went 99 yards. Topped off by this John Lombardi TD run with a minute left in the game. Irondequoit is going to hold on and win it 29-22. to win the Class A title. How about LeRoy and Bath Haverling meeting tonight? The Awatkin Knights looking for their Section 5 record 15th title early on. They go deep. Mike McCullen to Ryan McQuillan for the touchdown. They led it 6-0, but Bath comes back. Connor DeDominic here won't be denied. They would take the lead 16-6, but LeRoy comes back. This is a team last couple years getting close but couldn't get it done. Tonight, Tom Kelso takes it on the pitch for the touchdown. LeRoy with the lead, and Bath trying to stay in it, but John Pierce goes up to get the interception to seal it. LeRoy gets their title, winning it tonight, the final 34-24.
It's finally done. You know, we've been here the past 3 years. It's been the same thing. All of our games have been within 14 points. And it feels a lot better being on this side than the other side, that's for sure.
It comes back to one thing. Our kids prepared and worked hard all week and all season, and from the beginning of last year, you know, we had a difficult defeat. And that's a credit to them. And that's what we want to teach in high school athletics is to be poised, be disciplined, work hard, and think good things will happen for you.
Good things for them tonight.
Hit the ground. Tails he calls. Heads it is. Blue you want.
Incredible. I'm speechless right now. I'm emotional, you know, all the off-season work and everything. There's no way to describe this feeling right now. It's incredible. We just had to stay with it, you know, keep our heads up. You know, the football games go back and forth between each team, so we just had to hit the big pass, catch a break. That's the best feeling ever. It could storybook on it. It couldn't end any better, any other way than this. This is an incredible feeling.
carrier for 11 yards.
We knew we were the new guys coming up in Double-A, and I don't think a lot of people had us in it. We lost losing the first game of the season to Thomas, so it's kind of nice to come out and prove everyone wrong and prove that we can hang with the big guys in Double-A.
You know, we flew under the radar, which is kind of how we like it, and here we are. Whether they want to put an asterisk next to it or not, we're the sectional champs. I don't care.
Hey, the best of Section 5 have moved on to try and prove they're better than the best of Section 6. Far West Regionals beginning tonight in Buffalo will start you in Class A. Cinderella, better known to the public as Irondequoit, taking on perennial power Sweet Home. Eagles down just 8 in the fourth quarter. Jason Albritton finds a seam and then a lot of green grass in front of him. He scores. Irondequoit, though, still down by 2, and they go for 2. Sean Mannion, the quarterback, looking for his go-to guy, Dylan Harrington. Buys some time, hits him over the middle. We have a tie game. Next Eagles possession after they force a punt. It's 4th down. They go for it. Mannion gonna keep it. Finds a seam and a lot more down to the 6-yard line. And that would set up this field goal attempt from Jacob Simpson, and it is true. Kicker very valuable in high school. Eagles up 3, but they still need a stop. One chance for Sweet Home, but it's Harrington, the star receiver, stepping in front for the game-clinching interception. Irondequoit, the 4 seed in Section 5, moving on to the Final Four of New York State, 24-21. How about in Class D? Red Jacket taking on Section 6's 9-1 Randolph at All High Stadium. Red Jacket would go up 6, but toward the end of the first quarter, Randolph's Bryce Morrison fakes the handoff and runs it in, 7-6 Randolph. After another Red Jacket touchdown in the second half, the first offensive play for the Cardinals in the third, Devin Nelson finds a hole and takes it all the way, and I do mean all the way, to put his team back on top, 13-12, and they would expand their lead in the fourth. Morrison sheds a couple tacklers in the backfield, a little flick to Mason Bosley for the 19-12 lead. Red Jacket, though, still with a chance, driving with under a minute left, but there is Nelson now on the defensive end with the pick to seal it. Red Jacket's first loss, its only loss of the year. Their season ends 19-12. Well, Section 5 went 1 for 2 in the Far West Regionals on Friday and hoping to pick up a few more wins over Section 6 rivals today. Mighty LeRoy, the first ones up, taking on the Thunder Dragons of Maple Grove, Chautauqua Lake in Class C. LeRoy was down 12-zip at half. Ryan Miller just keeps on churning his legs, eventually gets through a crowd and scores on the long touchdown sprint. LeRoy in big trouble. Then it's A.J. Hilton coming up next with the Herculean effort to get through the line, hurdle a couple of defenders. He's got the near sideline. He's going to bring the stiff arm, go through the face mask, down to the 1. That would set up another Miller touchdown. And they were just piling it on today. LeRoy coming in ranked 2nd in the state, had a tough time as Mitch Sandberg somehow finds the hole to come into your living room. A season is over for LeRoy. A storied career complete now for Brian Moran. Owatkin Knights fall in the Far West Regional today, 32-0. Batavia and the Blue Devils, yeah, we them boys. Taking on Cheektowaga in Class B today. Tie game, first quarter. Marshawn Gibson getting the carry. He's going to find his way. It looked like the Florida State Seminoles, don't they? The helmets to the uniforms, all of it, and you confuse him for Jameis Winston on that run. That put his squad up 14-7. Batavia trying to answer. Greg Burzak. Screen pass. It's actually a lateral to Trevor Sherwood. He goes to Ryan Hogan. His best Chris Hogan impersonation. We're tied at 14 apiece, but under a minute to go in the third. Warriors now up a touchdown. It's 4th and 14. Zach Chesky hauls back and hits a Keem Black over the middle. That would double their lead, and Batavia's season ends today, 35-17. 20-16. The Class AA regional in progress. There were barely 100 total yards of offense between these teams in the first half, but a late field goal in the second put Jamestown up 3-zip over Victor. Third quarter now underway. Hey, how about a story so nice we got to tell it to you twice? This yesterday, of course, Irondequoit, the Cinderella of this year's Section 5 playoffs, now the Cinderella of the New York State playoffs after upsetting Sweet Home yesterday. Jason Albritton's run in the subsequent two-point conversion tied it. Fourth down on the next drive, Sean Mannion would convert and get a lot more tackled at the 6. That would set up the go-ahead field goal for the Eagles, and then the defense really would seal it. Dylan Harrington, one of his 2 picks, that one clinches the game. It's all coming together at the right time for the Eagles, who come back to Salem Stadium for the semis next week.
It feels so good. I can't even tell you the feeling. They're a great team. We played a hell of a game, and it's just, we came out with it. Stay with the coaches, stay with each other, stay positive. Our team chemistry is at the roof right now. We're just playing really well.
I can't even explain it, to tell you the truth. I'm hyped. I'm hyped. Oh, man, I'm hyped. Man, I'm on top of the road right now. It's just an amazing feeling, and I couldn't get it without my linemen. Oh, man, I don't know. It's amazing.
You can't beat emotion like that. Irondequoit's going to play 5th-ranked Indian River coming up next Friday. Section 5's biggest surprise was also its last hope. The Irondequoit Eagles, who went just 4-3 in the regular season, were looking to book their ticket to Syracuse for the state championship game next week. Those surprise Eagles back at Salem Stadium today to take on Indian River in the state semis of Class A. Warriors struck first, though already up 6-0, 8 minutes left. Denzel Barnes to his tight end, Gary Ruckman. It's 14-0 Indian River. But a minute and a half later, they hand off to John Lombardi. He dips and dives through the red zone and into the end zone. The deficit was cut in half. 20 seconds left in the half now. Sean Mannion throws it to DJ Walker. Irondequoit down just 7 at the break, but the Warriors scored to start the second. And then the Eagles get within their score. Mannion to Walker, this time 65 yards for the touchdown catch and run. But that's when Indian River shut the door and put the clamps down on the Eagles. Connor Brown with the carry to the outside. He books it in for 6, and it is Indian River booking its trip to the state title game. Irondequoit's magical season ends 49-22.
We definitely, like Coach has been saying, turn the program around. Everyone looks at Irondequoit. We're back now. We made a good run this year, and we're hoping that the classes, I'm a senior now, so the classes below me can keep this tradition alive. And it's just, we had a great season.
I will definitely remember every second that we've had together. I remember the sectional finals, one of the best nights of my life. I remember beating Sweet Home. No one thought we could do it. And I'll never forget coming to play out here in front of our family, in front of our community, and making everybody proud.
The Eagles do indeed make everybody proud. A lot of talent coming back next year.